I came home early from my business trip and found my husband's car in the driveway, along with my sister's. The house was dark except for our bedroom light. I could hear music playing. I quietly unlocked the door and walked upstairs. They didn't hear me open the bedroom door. My sister was wearing my wedding dress. My husband was on one knee proposing to her, in our bed. Before we continue, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to hear my story. If you're comfortable, let me know where you're listening from, and what time it is where you are. Now let me tell you my story. I was sitting in a conference room at the Dallas Hilton, half listening to a presentation about pharmaceutical distribution models, when my phone buzzed with an alert. Due to unforeseen circumstances, tonight's keynote speaker has canceled. The conference will conclude at 5 p.m. today instead of tomorrow morning. Thank you for your understanding. I looked at my watch. It was 4:30 p.m. on Tuesday. I could catch the 7 p.m. flight back to Atlanta instead of waiting until Wednesday morning. Be home by 10 p.m. instead of tomorrow afternoon. Surprise my husband James with an early return. We'd been married 8 years and things had been rocky lately. If I was being honest with myself, things had been rocky for the past 2 years. The fertility issues weren't helping. 26 months of trying, countless doctor's appointments, 3 rounds of IVF that failed, hormones that made me emotional and exhausted, and the constant disappointment every month when my period came. James had been distant through all of it, supportive on the surface but emotionally checked out. Maybe surprising him would be good. Maybe we could have a nice evening together. Reconnect, remember why we'd gotten married in the first place. I texted him around 6 p.m. while waiting at my gate. Conference is great. Miss you, see you tomorrow afternoon. Love you. I was lying. Of course. But I wanted the surprise to be complete. The flight was smooth. I landed at Hartsfield-Jackson at 9:45 p.m., got an Uber and headed home to our house in Brookhaven. I was thinking about James the whole ride. About our marriage. About whether we could fix what was broken. The Uber pulled up to our house at 10:43 p.m., and that's when I saw both cars in the driveway. James's black Audi, expected, and my sister Naya's white BMW. Unexpected. I paid the driver and stood on the sidewalk for a moment, looking at the house. Most of the lights were off, but our bedroom light was on. I could see the warm glow from the second-floor window, and I could hear music, faint, but unmistakable. Something romantic playing from upstairs. Naya visiting James while I was out of town wasn't necessarily weird. They got along well. Sometimes I thought they got along better than James, and I did. Naya was fun, spontaneous, always laughing. I was the serious older sister, the one focused on career and responsibilities. Maybe Naya had come over to keep James company. Watch a movie, order takeout, hang out. Except the bedroom light was on, and they were playing romantic music. My heart started beating faster. I walked up the driveway pulling my suitcase behind me. Used my key to unlock the front door as quietly as possible. The house was dark except for the lights spilling down the stairs from the second floor. The music was louder now, an R&B song I recognized, one of those slow, sensual tracks about love and desire. Not a song you'd play casually while hanging out with your sister-in-law. I left my suitcase by the door, slipped off my heels so I wouldn't make noise on the hardwood floors, started walking upstairs in my stockings. Each step deliberate and silent. The music got louder. I could hear voices now too. James and Nia talking and laughing softly. My bedroom door was slightly ajar, light streaming through the crack. I put my hand on the doorknob. My heart was pounding so hard I thought they might hear it. I pushed the door open slowly, and the world stopped. Nia was standing in the middle of our bedroom, wearing my wedding dress. The dress I'd worn 8 years ago when I married James. The dress that had been professionally cleaned and preserved in a special box in the attic. The dress I'd kept because maybe someday if we ever had a daughter she might want to wear it. Nia looked beautiful in it. It fit her perfectly. She was 2 inches shorter than me but about the same size. The lace sleeves, the fitted bodice, the flowing skirt. She looked like a bride. James was on one knee in front of her, on our bed, positioned like he was about to propose, or had just proposed. He was holding open a ring box. I could see a diamond ring inside, glittering under the bedroom lights. Not the ring I wore. A different ring. Bigger, more expensive looking. Rose petals were scattered across the bed. Champagne in an ice bucket on the nightstand. Romantic music playing from James's phone on the dresser. They had staged a proposal, a romantic, elaborate proposal. In our bedroom. In our bed. James was speaking, his voice full of emotion. Nia, from the moment I really got to know you, I knew you were special. Different from anyone I'd ever met. I know this is complicated. I know we've been hiding this, sneaking around, keeping secrets, but I can't hide anymore. I don't want to hide anymore. Kendra and we're not happy. We haven't been happy in years. The fertility issues, the constant fighting, the distance between us. We're strangers living in the same house. But you make me feel alive again, young again, like myself again, like the man I used to be before everything got so hard and complicated. Naya was crying, happy tears streaming down her face, smiling through them. James, I love you. I've loved you for so long. Since before you even married her. I watched you marry my sister and it broke my heart into a million pieces. I smiled at the wedding and pretended to be happy and died inside. Every family dinner, every holiday, every time I saw you with her, I had to pretend I didn't feel this way. Had to pretend I wasn't in love with you. James reached up, touched her face tenderly. I wish I'd met you first. I wish I'd known you the way I know you now. I wish it was you I'd married 8 years ago, but we can fix this now. I'll divorce Kendra. We'll do this right. We'll be together properly. No more hiding, no more sneaking around. Naya Hayes, will you marry me? Nia's face lit up like the sun. Yes. Oh my God, yes. Yes. 1,000 times yes. James stood up, took the ring from the box, and slid it onto Nia's left ring finger. They kissed. Not a quick kiss. A deep, passionate, intimate kiss. The kind of kiss that spoke of familiarity and history and love. I made a sound. I didn't mean to. Just a small gasp that escaped before I could stop it. They broke apart instantly, turned toward the door, saw me standing there. For a moment, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. We just stared at each other. Naya's face went completely white. Her hand flew to her mouth, the new ring glittering on her finger. James stumbled backward, nearly falling off the bed. Kendra, what are you? You're not supposed to be. What are you doing here? I live here, I said. My voice sounded strange, calm, too calm, like I was narrating someone else's life. This is my house, my bedroom, my bed. What are you doing here, Naya? And why are you wearing my wedding dress? Nia tried to back away, but she was trapped between James and the bed, drowning in white lace and tulle. Kendra, I can explain. James started. Explain what? I stepped into the room, closing the door behind me. Explain that you're proposing to my sister, in our bedroom, while she's wearing the dress I wore when I married you? It's not what it looks like. It looks like you're on one knee with a ring, proposing to my sister who's wearing my wedding dress in our bed, surrounded by rose petals and champagne. What part am I misunderstanding? James and Naya exchanged looks. The kind of look that spoke of shared secrets, of being on the same team, against me. How long? I asked. How long has this been going on? Silence. How long? Naya's voice was barely a whisper. 2 years. 2 years. 2 years. The words echoed in my head, not making sense. 2 years meant they'd been doing this since right after our 6th anniversary. Since we'd started the fertility treatments. Since everything started falling apart. 2 years, I repeated slowly. You've been sleeping with my husband for 2 years? Nia wouldn't meet my eyes. I turned to James. You've been sleeping with my sister for 2 years. While we were trying to have a baby, while I was going through IVF, while I was injecting myself with hormones and going to doctor's appointments and crying every month when it didn't work, while we were supposedly trying to save our marriage, you were fucking my sister. Kendra, please. James tried. Where? How often? Every time I traveled for work? Every time I worked late? How many times have you brought her here, into our bed? Naya spoke up, her voice defensive. A lot. Okay? Many times, whenever you were traveling or working late. We'd have dinner, watch movies, sleep together, like a real couple, like we should have been all along. The casual way she said it, like it was normal, like it was right, made me want to scream. In my bed? I said. You've been having sex with my husband in the bed I sleep in every night. We changed the sheets, Nia said, then seemed to realize how absurd that sounded. I started laughing. I couldn't help it. Hysterical, bitter laughter that made both of them look nervous. You changed the sheets. Well, that makes it okay then. I moved further into the room, looking around with new eyes, seeing things I'd missed in the initial shock. The champagne bottle on the nightstand. Dom Perignon, expensive, the good stuff James only bought for special occasions. The rose petals scattered across the bed. Someone had taken time to arrange them to make this romantic. Lingerie laid out on my side of the bed. Black lace, expensive looking. Tag still attached. Nia's sigh. You were going to have sex, I said. After the proposal. Celebrate your engagement by fucking in my bed. Kendra, don't be crude. James started. Don't be crude. You're proposing to my sister in our bedroom and I'm the one being crude. I walked to the dresser, started opening drawers. What are you doing? Nia asked nervously. In the bottom drawer, the one I rarely used because it stuck and was hard to open. I found clothes, women's clothes that weren't mine. Nia's clothes, jeans, t-shirts, a nightgown, underwear, a whole collection, neatly folded. You keep clothes here, I said. Like you live here. Like this is your house too. I just left a few things for convenience. Convenience. Right? Convenient for all the times you're here fucking my husband. I grabbed James's phone from where he'd left it on the dresser. He'd been playing music from it. It was still unlocked. What are you doing? That's private. James moved toward me. Private? You're sleeping with my sister and you're worried about privacy? I opened his photos. Started scrolling. And there they were. Hundreds of photos. James and Nia together. At restaurants I recognized, places James had told me he was going for work dinners. On a beach, Miami. From the looks of it, James had gone to Miami 3 months ago for a conference. At Stone Mountain hiking together, Nia wearing James's jacket. At the botanical gardens holding hands. At a Braves game. Kissing in their seats. At family events. Thanksgiving dinner at my parents' house. Christmas at my aunt's, standing too close, looking at each other with obvious affection while I stood obliviously nearby. Everyone could see it, I said slowly. At family dinners, holidays, everyone could see how you looked at each other, and I was too blind to notice. I looked up at them. Does Mom know? Does our mother know you're sleeping with my husband? Nia shook her head quickly. No. Nobody knows. We've been careful. Careful? You've been careful? I scrolled through more messages. These photos from Thanksgiving, you're practically groping each other at my parents' dining room table. Nobody noticed, James said defensively, or nobody wanted to say anything because it was too awful to acknowledge. I kept scrolling through James's phone, found text messages between him and Nia, going back 2 years. Thousands of messages. Good morning texts. Good night texts. I love yous and I miss yous and I can't wait to see yous. Explicit photos, videos. Nia in lingerie, James shirtless. Things I couldn't unsee no matter how much I wanted to. Plans for their future. Discussion of where they'd live after James divorced me. What kind of wedding they'd have. How many children they want. 3 kids. I read aloud. You want 3 children together? 2 boys and a girl. I looked at Nia. You discussed having children with my husband, while I was going through fertility treatments, while I was crying every month because I couldn't get pregnant. You were planning your future family with him. Nia's face crumpled. Kendra, I'm sorry. I didn't mean what? Didn't mean to plan a whole life with my husband. Didn't mean to discuss having his children while I was desperately trying to have a baby. I found more messages. Financial discussions. James had opened a joint savings account with Nia, had been depositing money into it every month for the past year. $50,000, I said, staring at the bank statements. You've put $50,000 into an account with my sister. James looked caught. That's our money. Nia's and mine, for when we start our life together. That's my money. Our joint income. Marital assets. You stole $50,000 from our marriage to fund your affair. It's not stealing if it's my money too. Except it is stealing. It's marital funds used for an affair. That's called dissipation of assets. My lawyer is going to have a field day with this. I looked at Nia, really looked at her standing there in my wedding dress with tears streaming down her face. Why are you wearing my wedding dress? I wanted to see how it looked, Nia said defensively. I'm a wedding planner. I appreciate beautiful gowns. That's not why. Tell me the real reason. She didn't answer. Tell me. James answered for her. We were planning our wedding, practicing the proposal. Nia wanted to see what she'd look like as a bride. What it would feel like, in my dress. You were planning your wedding using my wedding dress. You said you'd never wear it again, Nia said weakly. It was just sitting in a box in the attic. You thought you'd try it on while my husband proposed to you. You thought that was appropriate. I was going to put it back. You'd never have known, except I do know, because I came home early and found you playing bride with my husband in my bedroom. I looked at both of them standing there looking guilty but also defiant, like they'd been wronged somehow. Did you plan this specifically for tonight? Because you knew I was out of town? James had the decency to look ashamed. You weren't supposed to be back until tomorrow afternoon. We thought we had time. Time to what? Propose, celebrate, fuck in my bed and put everything back before I got home. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. I walked around the room taking inventory of everything I'd missed. The champagne purchased specially for tonight. The rose petals arranged carefully to be romantic. The lingerie, new with tags bought for Nia to wear after the proposal. Candles on the dresser, not yet lit. A playlist on James's phone called for Nia, full of romantic songs. You planned this, I said. This wasn't spontaneous. You planned every detail of proposing to my sister in my bedroom while I was out of town. Neither of them denied it. How many times, I asked. How many times have you brought her here, to this house, to our bed? James sighed. Kendra, what does it matter? How many times? I don't know, he shouted back. A lot. Dozens of times. Maybe hundreds. Every time you traveled for work. Every time you worked late. Every time you went to visit your parents without me. We'd have dinner together, watch movies, sleep in this bed, wake up together, have breakfast, like a real couple, like we should have been all along. The words were daggers. So, our entire marriage has been a lie. For 2 years you've been living a double life. Our marriage was already over, James said. His voice was cold now, defensive. You just didn't want to admit it. Our marriage was over? Is that your justification for fucking my sister? We haven't been happy in years. Kendra, you know that. The fertility stuff broke us. So this is my fault? I couldn't get pregnant, so you cheated with my sister. That's not what I'm saying. Then what are you saying? James ran his hands through his hair, frustrated. Every month, another negative test, another failure, another round of hormones and procedures and disappointment. You became obsessed with getting pregnant. That's all you cared about. Not me, not us, just having a baby. We were trying to have a baby. That's what you said you wanted. I wanted a family with you. But you turned it into this all-consuming obsession. Every conversation was about ovulation and doctor's appointments. And pregnancy tests. You stopped seeing me as a husband and started seeing me as a sperm donor. The accusation hung in the air. So you turned to my sister. Nia was there for me, James said. She listened. She understood what I was going through. She didn't make everything about babies and fertility and failure. She made me feel like a person again, like a man, not just a failed reproductive system. I turned to Nia. And you? What's your excuse? Why did you sleep with your sister's husband? Nia wiped her eyes, smearing mascara across her cheeks. The wedding dress made her look young, vulnerable, but her words were anything but. I loved him first. The words didn't register at first. What? I loved him first, Kendra. Before you even met him. Before you even knew he existed. What are you talking about? Nia's voice was stronger now, like a dam had broken. I met James at a work conference 9 years ago, a wedding industry event in Charleston. We talked all night at the hotel bar, about everything. Life, dreams, what we wanted from the future. I thought we had something. I thought maybe this was it. You know, that connection you're always hoping for. But then you were visiting me that weekend. Remember? You flew down to Charleston to see me because you had a few days off. And I brought James to brunch to introduce you. My mind was reeling, trying to remember. 9 years ago, I'd visited Nia in Charleston when she was first starting her wedding planning business. She'd introduced me to someone. You said you met him at a party, I said slowly. At your friend Sarah's party, I lied. I met him first. At that conference I wanted him for myself. But then I introduced him to you, my beautiful, successful, perfect older sister, and he forgot I even existed. You're prettier than me. More accomplished, more sophisticated, more everything. Like always. He fell for you instantly. I watched it happen over brunch, watched him lean in when you talked, laugh at your jokes, ask for your number before we even left the restaurant. And I smiled. I smiled and pretended to be happy for you both. But I was dying inside. I couldn't breathe. You introduced us. Our entire relationship started because you introduced us. I didn't have a choice. You were visiting, he was there. What was I supposed to do? Hide him? Lie? You should have told me you liked him. Would that have stopped you? Would you have walked away if you knew I was interested? I wanted to say yes. But honestly, I didn't know. 9 years ago I'd been 30, single, focused on my career. If I'd met an attractive, charming man at brunch, would I have said no because my younger sister had met him first? Maybe not. So you smiled and watched me marry him, I said. I smiled at your wedding and died inside. Nia confirmed. I was your maid of honor. I helped you pick out that dress you're so precious about. I threw you a bridal shower. I gave a toast at your reception about how perfect you were for each other. And the whole time I wanted to scream. The whole time I was in love with him. Every family dinner, every holiday, every time I saw you together, I had to pretend, had to watch the man I loved living the life I wanted with my sister instead of me. That's not my fault. I said, I didn't know. You never said anything. What was I supposed to say? Hey Kendra, I know you're married to James, but I loved him first. So can you give him back? You could have told me you had feelings for him before we got serious. Before I fell in love. Before we got married. Would it have mattered? You always get what you want, Kendra. The career, the success, the husband. Everything. The resentment in her voice was palpable. So you decided to take him. I said slowly. You decided that if you couldn't have him first, you'd take him from me. I didn't take him. He came to me. He chose me. I looked at James. When did this start? He looked uncomfortable. Your anniversary party. 6 years, 2 years ago. My anniversary party? My voice cracked. You started sleeping with my sister at my anniversary party? It wasn't planned. How? James sighed. You and your friends were in the living room opening gifts. Noya and I were in the kitchen getting more wine. We were talking about how things had been hard between us, how distant you'd been because of the fertility stuff. She understood. She'd seen what we were going through. We kissed. Just once. But it was electric, Naya finished. It was like everything I'd been feeling for years finally made sense. Like the universe was correcting a mistake. And you didn't stop, I said. You kissed at my anniversary party and then you just kept going. We tried to stop, James said. We both felt guilty, but we couldn't stay away from each other. Within a month we were seeing each other regularly, meeting at hotels, going on trips when you were traveling for work. And then eventually I just started bringing her here, to our house, to our bed. It stopped feeling like your bed, James said quietly. It started feeling like ours, mine and Mia's. The words were a knife to the heart. I walked to the nightstand, picked up the ring box James had left there. The engagement ring inside was stunning. At least 3 carats, platinum setting, flawless diamond. How much did this cost? That's not relevant. How much? $35,000? I almost dropped the box. $35,000? You spent $35,000 on a ring for my sister? My engagement ring had cost $8,000, a quarter of what he'd spent on Mia's. I wanted to give her something special, James said defensively. Something better than what you gave me. That's not. My ring cost $8,000. Hers cost $35,000. You gave her a ring more than 4 times more expensive than mine. I make more money now than I did 8 years ago. Or you love her more. Or you value her more. Or you wanted to prove something. I set the ring box down, walked to James's side of the closet, started going through his things. What are you doing? James asked. I found what I was looking for in his jacket pocket. A receipt from the jeweler. Dated 3 weeks ago, and the payment method, a withdrawal from our joint savings account. You used our joint account to buy her ring. I needed to make sure I could afford it. That's marital funds, James. Our money. My money. You stole from our marriage to buy your mistress an engagement ring. I kept looking. Found more receipts. Dinners at expensive restaurants. A weekend trip to Savannah. Tickets to a concert. Hotel rooms. Flowers. Jewelry. Lingerie. Thousands of dollars spent on the affair. All from our joint accounts. You've been financing this entire relationship with marital funds. I said. Dates. Trips. Gifts. Everything. I've been unknowingly paying for you to cheat on me. It's my money too. It's our money. Joint assets. And you can't use marital assets to support an affair. That's called dissipation. My lawyer is going to tear you apart. Mia was crying harder now. Kendra, please. We didn't mean to hurt you. You didn't mean to hurt me. You've been sleeping with my husband for 2 years. You were planning a wedding while I was still married to him. How is that not meaning to hurt me? We're in love. Mia shouted. Real love. The kind of love you and James never had. We were married for 8 years. 8 years of what? Fighting and distance and disappointment. That's not a marriage. That's a prison. James and I are actually happy together. We laugh. We have fun. We actually enjoy each other's company. When was the last time you and James laughed together? When was the last time you had fun? The words stung because they were partly true. James and I hadn't laughed together in a long time. Hadn't had fun. Everything had become about fertility treatments and schedules and disappointment. But that didn't justify this. So because our marriage was struggling, you decided to destroy it completely? Your marriage was already destroyed, Nia said. We just finally admitted it. I looked at James. Is that how you see it? Our marriage was destroyed, so this is fine? I was going to ask you for a divorce, James said. Next month. I'd already talked to a lawyer. The world tilted. You talked to a lawyer? When? 3 weeks ago. I had a consultation. Started the paperwork. You were planning to ambush me with divorce papers? I was planning to have an adult conversation about ending our marriage. But yes, the paperwork was being prepared, while letting me think everything was fine, while still sleeping in my bed every night, while watching me go through fertility treatments for a baby we were never going to have. I tried to tell you to stop the treatments, James said. I told you maybe we should take a break. Focus on us, because you were sleeping with my sister and didn't want me to get pregnant, because our marriage was falling apart and bringing a baby into it would have been a disaster. But you're fine having babies with Nia. You've planned 3 children with her, because Nia and I actually have a future. You and I don't. The words echoed in the room. Get out of my dress. Nia, I said quietly. Kendra, take off my wedding dress right now, or I will rip it off you myself. Nia looked at James, who nodded reluctantly. She went into the bathroom to change. I turned to James. I want you out of this house. Tonight, right now. Kendra, we need to talk about this rationally. Rationally. You were just proposing to my sister in our bed while she wore my wedding dress. There's nothing rational about any of this. Pack a bag, get out, go stay with Nia, since you love her so much. This is my house too. Actually, it's not. My name is on the deed. I bought this house before we got married with my money. You moved in. Legally, this is my house. James looked stunned. You're kicking me out? Yes. Pack your things and leave. We need to discuss this. There's nothing to discuss. You've been cheating on me for 2 years with my sister. You were planning to divorce me. You've already talked to a lawyer. Consider this me beating you to the punch. Pack a bag. Nia emerged from the bathroom wearing her regular clothes, jeans and a sweater. She was holding my wedding dress carefully, like it was precious. I snatched it from her hands. You don't get to touch this, ever. Kendra, I'm sorry. Get out of my house, both of you. Now. James and Nia scrambled to gather their things. James threw clothes into a duffel bag, grabbed his laptop, his toiletries, looking back at me like he wanted to say something. Don't, I said. Don't say anything. Just leave. Nia grabbed her purse, her jacket, the shoes she'd kicked off earlier. Kendra, please, can we just talk? There's nothing to talk about. You slept with my husband for 2 years. You were planning to marry him while I was still married to him. What is there to discuss? I never meant to hurt you. But you did. You destroyed our relationship. You're not my sister anymore. Nia's face crumpled. Don't say that. Get out. They walked down the stairs together. I followed, making sure they actually left. At the door, James turned. Kendra, will need to discuss divorce proceedings. My lawyer will contact your lawyer. Don't contact me directly. Can we at least be adults about this? Adults? Adults don't fuck their wife's sister in the marital bed. Adults don't steal $50,000 from joint accounts to fund an affair. Adults don't propose to their mistress while their wife is out of town. Leave. Now. They walked out together. Nia was crying. James looked back one more time, opened his mouth like he was going to say something, then thought better of it. I slammed the door behind them, stood in my foyer, surrounded by silence. Then I walked back upstairs to my bedroom, looked at the champagne, the rose petals, the lingerie bought for my sister to wear, looked at the ring box James had left behind, picked it up, opened it, looked at the $35,000 ring he'd bought for Nia with our money, and I threw it across the room as hard as I could. It hit the wall and fell behind the dresser. I didn't care if I never found it again. Then I picked up my phone and called the one person I knew could help me. Tasha? I need a lawyer. The most ruthless divorce attorney you know? Tasha Freeman was my best friend from college. We'd been roommates at Spelman, stayed close after graduation. She was a divorce attorney at one of Atlanta's most prestigious firms, known for absolutely destroying unfaithful spouses in court. Kendra? It's almost midnight. What's wrong? I came home early from my business trip and found James proposing to my sister, in our bedroom. She was wearing my wedding dress. Silence on the other end. Then, I'm sorry, what? I explained everything. The early return, seeing their cars, the music, walking in on the proposal, the wedding dress, the ring, the confession about the 2-year affair. Oh, he's done, Tasha said, Her voice had gone cold, professional. He's absolutely done. I'm coming over right now. Don't touch anything in that bedroom. Why not? Evidence. Georgia is an at-fault state for divorce. Adultery matters. We're documenting everything. It's midnight, Tasha. I don't care. This is important. I'm coming over. Text me your address. You've been to my house. I know, but I'm documenting this professionally. Text me the address. I'll be there in 20 minutes. She hung up. I texted her my address, then sat down on my bed. The bed covered in rose petals meant for celebrating my husband's engagement to my sister, and waited. Tasha arrived in 18 minutes. She must have been speeding. She came in wearing yoga pants and a Spellman's sweatshirt, but carrying a professional camera, a legal pad, and her laptop. Show me everything, she said. We went upstairs. She started photographing, the champagne on the nightstand, the rose petals on the bed, the romantic music still playing on James's phone, the lingerie laid out for Naya, the candles, the ring box I'd thrown. This is good, she kept saying. This is really good. A romantic setup for his mistress who happens to be your sister in the marital bedroom. A judge is going to love this. She went to James's nightstand, found his iPad. He'd left it behind in his hurry to leave. Do you know his password? Try our wedding anniversary. She typed it in. It worked. Idiot, she muttered. She started scrolling through messages, emails, photos. Oh my God, she breathed. Kendra, there are hundreds of messages, explicit photos, videos, plans for their future together. There's evidence here of them discussing when to finally tell you. Discussing how to break the news, how to handle the divorce. She kept scrolling. Wait. Look at this. She showed me an email. James to Naya, dated 3 weeks ago. I met with Harold Davidson today. He's a divorce attorney. He said we should file soon. That Georgia law favors the first person to file. He's drawing up paperwork. I'll serve Kendra next month, after her conference in Dallas. Don't worry, baby. Soon we'll be together officially. He was planning to ambush you with divorce papers, Tasha said. He'd already hired a lawyer, already started the paperwork. She kept looking, found bank statements. He withdrew $50,000 from your joint savings account. Did you know about this? He told me tonight. He used it to buy Nian's engagement ring and fund their relationship. That's dissipation of marital assets. Using joint funds to support an extramarital affair. That's hugely in your favor for the divorce settlement. She found more evidence. James had added Nia as a domestic partner on his work health insurance. Fraudulently, since they weren't married or actually domestic partners. His company is going to love this, Tasha said grimly. Insurance fraud. Ethics violation. He could lose his job. She found emails about apartments. James had been looking at places for him and Nia to live together after the divorce. Had even put a deposit down on a luxury condo in Midtown, $5,000. From the joint account. He's been systematically stealing from your marriage to fund his future with your sister, Tasha said. This is a prosecutor's dream. She took photos of everything, downloaded files, made notes. By 2 a.m. we had a complete dossier of evidence. Here's what's going to happen, Tasha said. First thing tomorrow morning, I'm filing for divorce on your behalf. We're asking for the house, which is yours anyway, plus 60% of marital assets due to his adultery. We're demanding he pay back every penny he stole from joint accounts. The $50,000 for the ring and affair expenses, plus the $5,000 apartment deposit, plus any other money we find. We're asking for substantial alimony. You make more than him, but given his fault in the marriage breakdown, we can argue he should pay something. And I'm reporting the insurance fraud to his company. They need to know he's been falsely claiming your sister as a dependent. That's aggressive. I said, he proposed to your sister in your bedroom while she wore your wedding dress. He deserves aggressive. What about Nia? What about her? Should I do something? Say something? Tasha looked at me seriously. What do you want to do? I want to never see her again. Then don't. You don't owe her a conversation. You don't owe her forgiveness. She slept with your husband for 2 years. She knew exactly what she was doing, but she's my sister. She stopped being your sister when she started fucking your husband. The words were harsh but true. Your parents need to know, Tasha said. They should hear it from you before they hear it from someone else. I nodded. I'll tell them tomorrow. Get some sleep if you can. Tomorrow's going to be a long day. After Tasha left, I went back upstairs, looked at my bedroom, the room I'd shared with James for 8 years, the room where he proposed to my sister. I couldn't sleep there. I grabbed a blanket and a pillow, and went to the guest room. Lay awake until dawn, staring at the ceiling, trying to process what my life had become. The next morning I drove to my parents' house in Decatur. My mother, Gloria Hayes, was 64, a retired high school English teacher. My father, Raymond Hayes, was 66, retired from the postal service. They'd been married 42 years, the kind of solid, stable marriage I'd thought James and I had. I knocked on their door at 8 a.m., too early for a social visit, but I couldn't wait. My mother answered in her bathrobe. Kendra, what are you doing here so early? I thought you were in Dallas until today. I came home early. Is Dad here? In the kitchen having coffee. Honey, what's wrong? You look terrible. I walked inside. My father was sitting at the kitchen table reading the newspaper like he did every morning. Kendra, what a nice surprise. Want some coffee? I need to tell you both something. You should sit down. My mother's face went pale. Oh God, are you sick? Is it cancer? No. It's about James and Nia. I told them everything. They sat in stunned silence as I described coming home early, finding James's and Nia's cars, walking upstairs, seeing Nia in my wedding dress while James proposed. The 2-year affair. The stolen money. The planned divorce. All of it. When I finished, my mother was crying. My father looked like he might have a stroke. Nia? My mother whispered, your sister Nia? Our daughter? Yes. She's been sleeping with James? For 2 years? Yes. My father stood up abruptly. I'm calling her right now. She needs to explain herself. Dad, but he was already dialing. Put the phone on speaker. Nia answered on the 3rd ring. Daddy? It's early, is everything okay? No, everything is not okay. Your sister is here. She told us what you've been doing. Silence on the other end. Nia, did you hear me? I heard you. Her voice was small. Get over here, right now. You're going to explain yourself to your mother and me. Daddy? I don't think, right now, nah. He hung up. We sat in tense silence for 45 minutes, until we heard a car in the driveway. Nia came in through the front door. She wasn't alone. James was with her. They were holding hands. My mother stood up. Tell me it's not true. Tell me Kendra misunderstood somehow. Nia looked at the floor. I can't tell you that. So it's true. You've been sleeping with your sister's husband? Mama, it's not that simple. It seems pretty simple to me. Your sister's husband. How could you? Because I love him, Nia shouted. I love him and he loves me. And we're supposed to be together. That's your sister's husband. They weren't happy. Their marriage was already over. I didn't destroy anything that wasn't already broken. My father spoke, his voice dangerously quiet. That doesn't give you the right to sleep with him. Married people go through rough patches. That doesn't mean their siblings get to move in on their spouse. You don't understand, then explain it to me. Explain how this is anything other than a betrayal of your sister and your family. Nia's chin came up defiantly. Fine, you want the truth? I met James first. 9 years ago, before Kendra even knew he existed. I introduced them, and he chose her over me. I watched him marry my sister when he should have married me. I smiled and pretended to be happy while my heart was breaking. For 8 years I watched them together. Watched him love her when he should have been loving me. And 2 years ago he finally realized the truth. That he chose wrong. That we're meant to be together. My mother looked horrified. So you've been waiting? For 8 years you've been waiting to steal your sister's husband? I didn't steal him. He came to me. He chose me. James spoke up. Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, I know this looks bad, but Nia and I genuinely love each other. We tried to fight it, but we couldn't. Your marriage to Kendra was already in trouble. The fertility issues, the fighting, the distance, we weren't happy anymore. Nia made me happy. She reminded me what it's like to actually enjoy being with someone. My father's voice was ice. Get out of my house. Sir, get out. You are not welcome here. You will never be welcome here again. Mr. Hayes, please, get out. James looked at Nia, who was crying. They turned to leave. Not you, my mother said to Nia. You stay. Nia looked at James, who squeezed her hand and left. After the door closed behind him, my mother turned to Nia. I raised you better than this. I raised you to value family, to have integrity, to know right from wrong. How could you betray your sister like this? You always loved her more. Nia shouted. Kendra was always the favorite. The smart one. The successful one. The perfect daughter. Everything was always about Kendra. Look at Kendra's grades. Look at Kendra's job. Look at Kendra's perfect life. For once I wanted something she had. I wanted to be first. I wanted to be chosen. So you took her husband, my father said. That's your solution. Destroy your sister's marriage because you felt overlooked. Her marriage was already destroyed. They were miserable. That's not your decision to make. My mother yelled. If their marriage was struggling, that's between them. You don't get to jump in and make it worse. I made it better. James is happier with me than he ever was with her. I'd been silent through this whole exchange, but I couldn't stay quiet anymore. Did you ever think about me? I asked. When you were sleeping with my husband, did you ever think about how this would hurt me? Nia turned to face me. Honestly? No. I thought about how much it hurt me when you took him in the first place. I didn't take him. We met and fell in love. That's not taking someone. You always take everything. The attention, the success, the man. You didn't even try that hard and he fell for you. Do you know how that felt? To watch you get everything so easily while I had to fight for scraps? So this is payback. You destroy my marriage to get back at me for, what? Being successful? Meeting a man who liked me? For being you? For being perfect? For getting everything handed to you while I got nothing? I worked for everything I have. I wasn't handed anything. You were handed him. I found him first. He should have been mine. The selfishness, the narcissism, the complete lack of empathy. It was breathtaking. You're not my sister anymore, I said quietly. Don't say that. You stopped being my sister the moment you kissed my husband at my anniversary party. The moment you decided your jealousy was more important than our relationship. Kendra. Please. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to see you. As far as I'm concerned, I'm an only child now. I looked at my parents. I'm going home. I'll talk to you both later. I walked out, leaving Nia crying in my parents' kitchen. I didn't look back. The next 6 months were brutal. Tasha filed for divorce immediately. Demanded the house, 60% of marital assets, return of all money James had stolen from joint accounts, and 5 years of alimony. James's lawyer tried to argue that I made more money so I should pay him alimony. Tasha laughed in his face. Your client committed adultery with his wife's sister, stole $50,000 from joint accounts to fund the affair, and fraudulently added his mistress to his work health insurance. We have photographic evidence of him proposing to her in the marital bedroom while she wore my client's wedding dress. Your client is lucky we're not pursuing criminal charges for fraud. James's lawyer backed down quickly. The insurance fraud was reported to James's company. The HR investigation took 3 weeks. James was fired for ethics violations. He'd been making $180,000 a year as a corporate finance manager. Now he was unemployed. He eventually found a job at a much smaller firm, making $85,000 a year, less than half his previous salary. Nia's wedding planning business took a hit. Word got out about the affair. One of my cousins posted about it on Facebook. It went semi-viral locally. Would you hire a wedding planner who helped break up her own sister's marriage? The post asked. It got shared hundreds of times. Nia lost half her clients. Brides didn't want a homewrecker planning the most important day of their lives. Her income dropped by 60%. James and Nia moved in together in a small apartment in East Atlanta. Nothing like the luxury midtown condo James had put a deposit on. They couldn't afford it on their combined reduced income. The family fractured. My parents sided with me completely, cut Nia off, stopped inviting her to family events, stopped calling, removed her photos from their house. My aunts and uncles split. Some sided with me, some tried to stay neutral. A few thought I was being too harsh. My cousin Shanace, who'd always been close to Nia, tried to defend her. They're in love. That mattered. I cut Shanace off too. Extended family events became awkward. Thanksgiving was split into 2 gatherings. Mine at my parents' house, Nia's at her apartment with the few relatives who still spoke to her. Christmas was the same. My mother cried a lot that first year. I lost a daughter. She said, you didn't lose her, I replied. She chose James over her family. The divorce was finalized in April. 6 months after I'd walked in on the proposal, I got the house. James had to pay back the $55,000 he'd stolen, the $50,000 in joint savings plus the $5,000 in apartment deposit. I got 60% of marital assets. James had to pay me $1,500 a month in alimony for 5 years. On his reduced income, it was crippling, but Tasha had been ruthless. He destroyed your marriage with your sister. He deserves to be crippled financially. I moved forward with my life, went to therapy twice a week, processed the betrayal, the loss, the anger. My therapist helped me understand that I'd been so obsessed with getting pregnant because I knew subconsciously that my marriage was failing. I'd thought a baby would fix it, but babies don't fix broken marriages, she said. They just add a child to a bad situation. I stopped the fertility treatments. Stopped obsessing over ovulation and pregnancy tests. Maybe I'll have children someday. I told my therapist. Maybe I'll adopt. Maybe I won't have children at all. But whatever I do, it'll be because I want to. Not because I'm trying to save a relationship. I threw myself into work. Got promoted to senior director. Got a raise. Bought new furniture for my house. Redecorated. Made it fully mine. Started dating again around month 4. Nothing serious at first. Coffee dates. Dinners. Casual conversation. Just remembering what it was like to be valued. Appreciated, treated with respect. Then I met Isaiah Thompson. 42 years old. Architect, divorced 3 years ago. Had a 10-year-old daughter he shared custody with his ex-wife. We met at a networking event. Started talking about work, life, Atlanta. He made me laugh. Really laugh. For the first time in what felt like years. I like you, he said at the end of the night. Can I take you to dinner sometime? I'm recently divorced, I warned. Like really recently. I might be a mess. I was a mess 3 years ago. I understand. Dinner? Dinner. We took it slow. Dated for 2 months before we even kissed. He was patient, kind, understood what I'd been through. My ex-wife didn't cheat, he said, but she did check out of the marriage emotionally for years before we finally divorced. I understand betrayal. I understand needing time to heal. 6 months after my divorce, Isaiah met my parents. He's good, my mother said after dinner. Much better than James. Anyone would be better than James, my father muttered. Isaiah was better. He was honest, straightforward, treated me like an equal partner. When we disagreed, we talked about it. When things were hard, we dealt with them together. I'm not looking to replace your last marriage, he told me. I'm looking to build something new. Something honest. That was exactly what I needed. It was 6 months after the divorce, nearly a year after I'd found James proposing to Nia, when my phone buzzed with a text. From Maya. Kendra, I'm so sorry. You were right about everything. James and I are fighting constantly. The money stress is killing us. He resents me. I resent him. I ruined my life for nothing. Can we please talk? I stared at the message for a long moment. My mother was setting the table for Sunday dinner. Isaiah was in the living room talking to my father about the Falcons game. Normal, peaceful family activity. The life I'd rebuilt. Without Nia. Without James. Was that her? My mother asked quietly. She'd seen my face change. Yeah? What did she say? That she's sorry. That she was wrong. That things aren't working out with James. What are you going to do? I deleted the message without responding. Nothing. I'm not doing anything. She's your sister. No. She's not. Not anymore. My mother looked sad but nodded. I understand. Isaiah came into the kitchen, saw my face. You okay? I'm perfect. And I was. We sat down to dinner. My parents, Isaiah, me, the family I'd chosen, the life I'd rebuilt. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Naya. I turned off my phone. I'm Kendra Hayes. I'm 38 years old. Almost a year ago I came home early from a business trip, found my husband's car in the driveway. Along with my sister's car, the house was dark except for our bedroom light. I could hear romantic music playing. I walked upstairs quietly, opened the bedroom door. My sister Nia was standing there wearing my wedding dress. My husband James was on one knee proposing to her. In our bed, surrounded by rose petals and champagne and romantic music, they'd been having an affair for 2 years, since my 6th anniversary party. While I was going through fertility treatments, while I thought we were trying to save our marriage, Nia said she'd loved him first. That I'd stolen him from her 9 years ago when she introduced us. That she'd been waiting for her chance to take him back. James said our marriage was dead. That I'd been obsessed with getting pregnant and had stopped seeing him as a husband. That Nia made him happy in ways I never could, so I divorced him. Got the house, got 60% of our assets, made him pay back every penny he stole to fund the affair. Made him pay alimony on his drastically reduced income after he lost his job for insurance fraud. Nia's business suffered. The family fractured. My parents chose me, cut her off completely. And James and Nia, they're together in a small apartment, barely making ends meet, fighting constantly about money and stress and guilt. The fantasy didn't match the reality, 6 months ago Nia texted me, apologized, said she'd made a mistake, asked if we could talk. I deleted the message without responding, because I'm done looking back. I have a new relationship. Isaiah is kind, honest, treats me with respect. We're building something real, something based on truth instead of lies. I have my family, my career, my house, my life, all rebuilt, all mine. Now wanted my husband, she got him. Turns out he wasn't worth having, and I'm better off without either of them. I'm Kendra Hayes, divorced, promoted, dating someone wonderful, living my best life, while my sister is stuck with the man who cheated on his wife, and that's exactly what she deserves.